You can blame them for naming things like the Holy Roman Empire and pineapples. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? I always feel like somebody's watching me. Yo! What up, guys? Welcome to the first ever Ask Me Anything by yours truly, me. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave some comments below. With that, let's get started. And before I start this video, I just want to clarify, if I butcher your name, my deepest apologies. Anyway, let's get to it. So I decided to make this video when a friend reached out to me through Instagram, and he had a school project that he was working on, so he gave me a bunch of questions. These questions are from Hollis Darren. First question is, what is the best part about competing? So there really hasn't been a lot of kneeboarding contests, basically at all. Last one I entered was a video contest which encompassed wakeboarding, wake skating, etc. So I entered it as a kneeboarder. The best part is hanging out with other people that are really passionate about being on top of the water and riding myself. How do your teammates make practice fun? What we do is fun. We're all friends and we all just want to do our best. When we're pushing ourselves, only two things can happen. We either succeed and the whole team gets hyped, or we fail and we all have a good laugh at ourselves. It's a win-win either way. What emotions do you feel when you play well? I think they range a lot. Overall, I'm just really happy to be on the water, regardless of how well I'm doing. So when I'm doing well, I try to keep a balanced head. I try to give myself a little bit of props while also questioning how I can do the same thing but better. I think that giving myself too much props or being too hard on myself can negatively affect me. Okay, who's your favorite sport hero? That's tough. I've got a lot of heroes, from Roy Jones to Michael Jordan to Sean Murray, but if I think, I'd say the number one GOAT has to be Tony Hawk. Okay, what are 3 reasons you like being part of a team sport? Alright, this is easy. Number 1, it's fun. Number 2, my teammates are awesome people that also like to have fun. And number 3, it's fun. What is your favorite sports quote? I'm a sucker for a good quote. I actually heard this one from Sage Kotzenberg, who's a professional snowboarder. Heard him over on the Bombhole podcast. He basically said, "The grind isn't over till you reach the end of the rail." I like that one. Next question, what is your favorite song to listen to prior to competing? I like to listen to a lot of different kind of music. Generally speaking, rock and rap are my go-tos. Maybe something catchy like Rockwell's Somebody's Watching Me. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Okay, which sport do you like the most? So kneeboarding and wakeboarding are like my children, and I can't pick a favorite. Also, wake skating is also one of my children. Okay, what qualities make a teammate a good team captain? I think you need someone that's a leader, someone that's disciplined and that's going to get a plan started and get everybody on board. Pun intended. Okay, last question. What made you realize that you wanted to be a professional athlete? For me, it was when I was a kid. I watched this VHS tape called Airsoft of a bunch of professional kneeboarders that blew my mind. And it was a bunch of guys just having fun, and it made me want to be a kneeboarder too. And that was the end of his project, which he did well on. Yeah! And now this is the part when I ask the interwebs, ask me anything. Lindsay Tilkoff asked, why was the Holy Roman Empire called the Holy Roman Empire when it was neither holy nor Roman? 1 second. Okay, now hear me out. The Illuminati is real. Their members are a bunch of wakeboarders from the 80s and 90s that took a break naming wakeboarding tricks. They have a time machine. They go throughout history giving everything bad names. You can blame them for naming things like the Holy Roman Empire and pineapples, because they neither come from pine trees and they're not apples. I have no proof that this is true, but I also have no proof that this is false. So using Occam's razor, I think we can all assume that this is true. Scott Johnson asked, how many licks does it take to get to center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? And you can't ask the owl either. Well, I always knew that the owl always said 3, but he always did 2 licks and then he bit down on it. I feel like I saw a video where someone went and actually figured this out. I have no idea what the answer is. I'm just going to take a stab in the dark and say 2,000 licks. And I was way off. Mr. Beast did it in 270 licks. Tom Cole asked, sometimes when we hang out, you get phone calls from major brands and athletes through your hand. Then quickly hang up the closer I get to you. Do you have some type of high-tech phone wired through your skin, or are you actually a spy robot sent to watch the progress of kneeboarders around the world? To answer your question, both, yes. I was sent by the Wake Association of People, also known as w.a.p. Despite their name, they don't really keep tabs of what's going on in their own industry. So they created a robot to keep them informed on who should be getting sponsored, who should be getting promotions, who should be getting covers of magazines, who should be getting pro models, etc. But as you probably realize, this organization only exists in the future, somewhere next to Skynet and Google. Tina Farley asked, who is your favorite sister-in-law? Obviously you, but don't tell the others because they get so peanut butter and jealous. Mark CM asked, ever considered kite kneeboarding? Actually, I kind of really want to do that. I tried kiteboarding a long time ago. I want to say like 15 years ago. We took a trip out to a.m.a, paid a guy for lessons, got the kite up in the air, and then the wind died, and he gave us a refund and we went home. Years later, I had a friend of mine that showed me a trainer kite, and I got to play around with it, and I sort of figured it out. But yeah, I definitely want to figure that thing out, and if anyone has one and wants to teach me, hit me up. Mark also asked, kickers or rails, and why? I actually love both. I started riding boat, so when I started riding cable, I kind of gravitated towards kickers. But now that I'm getting older, I feel like I'm gravitating more towards rails. But the best option is unit hacks, so kicker to rails and rail to rails. Robert Tug McGraw asked, egg or chicken? I'm more of a chicken guy. I think they're tastier. If you want to know which one came first, 2 birds that weren't really chickens created a chicken egg, and hence we have an answer. The egg came first, and then it hatched a chicken. Pigeon Ben asked, how are you just the best? That answer is really easy. It's not true. I'm just trying to be half as good as the best, which is you, Ben Smith. Michael Kim asks, you got an air trick video? Because I want one. I mean, all my videos are air trick videos because every time I go off a kicker, I'm in the air. And when I come off rails, for a split moment in time, I'm also in the air. Seriously though, this might sound crazy, but I've never learned how to do an air trick. I've tried a ton of switch roll to reverts, and from what people tell me, I'm doing the hard part, which is flicking, but I can't get myself to edge right before the flick. But hopefully this year. Hayes Murphy asks, what is the best affordable trick kneeboard? So that's kind of a complicated question because I'm not sure what's affordable. Everyone's got a different price range. So I'm going to go down the line really quick and just give you guys all a kind of comprehensive idea of what kneeboard versus price range it's going to look like. The best boards on the market are the Sozo and the Enforcer. They're going for $499.99. They're indestructible. They're very soft on landings, pad is super soft, and basically perfect in every way. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of the Sozo. A step down from those boards are the Rush and the Ricochet. Then there's the roto modes. These boards are really designed for beginners, so the boards are basically designed to stay straight and not really carve or get lots of air. But if your budget will not allow the other boards, these are going to be your options. You can still pull off moves with these boards, even like back rolls and front roll backs. It's just going to be a lot harder and you're going to have to really work for it. There's also good deals on Amazon, eBay, OfferUp. You just gotta do your research. TJ Geisty asks, do you think there are enough wake parks around the world to wrap a cable around the globe if we combine them all, assuming it's not flat? Well, it's funny you say that because it is. But if we're going to say that the Earth is not flat, this would be the answer. So first we have to define what is actually around the globe, because anybody can take any size cable park and place it on the North or South Pole, and technically it would be around the globe. But let's say we're talking about the equator. I would have to know if I'm allowed to manipulate the cable so that I can make it longer to reach all the way around the globe. How far would a cable go if I were to place it in a straight line, cell by cell? Well, we know that the average human is 80 kilograms or 176 pounds. And if you were to use this technique on a human, they would be very much unalive. Also, it would extend about 550 trillion kilometers, or about 15 billion loops around the equator, or 1.4 billion trips to the moon, or about 58 light years. So in this sense, there's clearly enough cable to reach around the globe. But what if the cable had to be used in its normal form and go all the way around the equator? According to surfertoday.com, there are over 200 cable parks worldwide. And while I was unable to find a site with the exact number, I noticed that Freedom, Nona, and Elite were not on that list. So I'm going to assume there are 203 cable parks. For the sake of argument, we'll say every cable park is the size of OWC's standard cable, which I think is generous considering many cable parks are 2 tower cables that are much shorter than full cables. The equator is 24,901 miles long. And if we divide that by 203 cable parks, we get 122.66 miles. This would mean that the average cable park would have to be 122.66 miles long. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, if that was true and I was on that cable park, what would the furthest distance from the dock to the furthest distance I could fall be? Most cables are pentagons, and in a pentagon, the furthest distance is the third corner. If we assume that every side is an equal distance, which they definitely aren't, we would divide the 122.66 by 5, which is 24.532, then multiply that by 3, which is roughly 73.596 miles. And if you've ever been to OWC and fallen at the third corner, that's about how far it generally is. I'm just joking, that's not even close. And with that, that is all the questions. Thank you guys for asking them. If you have any others, please ask away and I will answer all of them. And we will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Yo!